I think there's like a U6 unemployment rate that's out there. I think that number is something um, over 7%, 7.2%. Employment could shake and rattle the Fed members.
Get ready for a new episode of KP Talks Dollars and Cents. Learn financial literacy and get real-time updates on all things housing, finance, and real estate. So let's get started. Here's your host, Kevin Perenio.
Hey, it's KP coming to you live from Corona, California. 1:30 a.m. on Tuesday morning. I've been away from my desk for 2 weeks. I've seen a lot of you on the road. And bad news is good news until it isn't. I think that's the theme of what I heard and what I think we're all feeling with all this data. We're watching the 10-year Treasury come down and rates improve and loan applications tick up, which is great. Some of it's due to bad economic news, and that's great for rates until the economic news is really bad. So it's interesting that on Thursday, here just a couple days, is the summer solstice. It is the longest day of the year at 1:50 p.m. Pacific time on Thursday. And then every day after that gets darker. So there'll be less sunlight every day. Going into the second half of the year with slowing job growth, increased, negativity and news that's out there, and we're in an election year. So if there's anything that's negative, you'll hear about it. So just turn the TV off, enjoy the summer, enjoy the sun, enjoy the current locked pipeline. Things are decent right now, but we'll be talking about more bad news and less bad news and all that as the year goes on. Okay, so what did we learn while we're on the road? Well, let's see. I was in Columbus, Ohio with the Maddox Insurance team. Then I was in Ventura County with the PennyMac team, where I got to take part in a memorial for their founder, Stan Curlin. Got to see my buddy Greg Holmes, the chief revenue officer over there at Zactus. And I'll tell you a little personal story about how he and I are connected through a Park City property, which I'm taking my family on vacation to Wednesday evening through the weekend. My trips last week from Ventura County took me to the NBA Chairman's Conference in Santa Barbara, where my friend Owen Lee from Success Mortgage Partners was nominated the vice chairman for next year. So congratulations, buddy. Great organization. Money was raised for MorePac and also for the Open Doors Foundation. And then I cruised back home through Malibu Canyon to visit my construction partners, my longtime buddy Jason from college, University of Texas at Austin over here, and his wife Britt. We went to dinner at Moonshadow around the water, never been there. Have a construction update video coming up probably in July or early July, maybe late this month. We'll see. Next week after the Park City trip, I go straight from Salt Lake on Sunday to Total Experts Customer Advisory Board on Monday, and then their Total Expert Accelerate next week, and then back home. And then we have our senior management meeting July 1st, and then we have, of course, the July 4th holiday. So I'll try and get a construction update out to you. Okay, so the unemployment rate is at 4%. And our good friends, Barry Habib, Dan and Jake, and, everyone over there, Diana, Meg, the whole team, they had a pretty awesome breakdown of the Fed meeting and the dot plot in a very interesting nugget. Now, I'm just going to say, I went to a little research online. The average unemployment rate, okay, the average, it's just long-term average, is 5.69%. Now, we haven't seen that in a while. I would say, I didn't look at a chart, but probably hasn't been in the 5 since, I'm just looking here, 2014. So we got as high as 10% after the global financial crisis, and started making our way back down. And it's been about 9 years, 10 years where we have not seen 5% unemployment. But the long-term average is 5.69%. Now we're at 4%. Now, I know there's a lot of wonky data, birth, death rates, which, by the way, I'll give you an update on cradle to grave information. with new population figures from our good friends Ivy Zelman, who I was introduced to personally over the phone during the pandemic when she was gathering research from IMB owners by Barry Habib. Barry pointed out that of the 19 members that put a dot on the plot in this last Fed meeting, 16 of them think that through this entire year, this year, that the unemployment rate will be 3.8 to, I believe, 4% or 4.1. Let me check that number real quick. I even framed it. 4.1%. Okay, so 14 Fed members think that by the end of this year we'll be at 4.1% unemployment, and 2 say 3.8%. So I guess they're going to see it improve from the 4% that we're at now. So they made the point that if we got to 4.2% unemployment, that's 16 of the members of the Fed saying, okay, hang on, unemployment's getting worse than we expected. And remember, there's largely set a dual mandate by the Fed: maximum employment and price stability, which is inflation. It's really a tri-mandate because they do want to have moderate long-term rates, which is interesting to see on the dot plot that they've raised their terminal rate from where the Fed funds rate will be at the end of this cycle from 2.6 up to 2.8. Anyway, if unemployment goes to 4.2%, which it could do it in 2 months, could do it in a month. I think there's like a U6 unemployment rate that's out there. I think that number is something like over 7%, 7.2%. Employment could shake and rattle the Fed members. Having said that, we are currently at 1.8 million jobs, continuing uninsured claims. We get a weekly update on that every Thursday. That number ticked up last Thursday, and there are 6.6 million people that are unemployed in this country. That have made a claim that there's know of from the Bureau of Labor Statistics. So we're going to watch that. Retail sales data comes out tomorrow. Juneteenth is on Wednesday. The market's closed. I love telling this story. If you haven't heard this already, I am from the state of Texas, born and raised. Sorry to my Dallas Mavericks. You ran against a buzzsaw by those damn Celtics. At least we took one game. They only lost 3 games the entire postseason, swept their conference final, and then lost in Game 4 in Dallas in the finals. Boy, Boston looked good. Anyway, Juneteenth is a Texas holiday. It is a Texas holiday. I am 47, almost 48 years old, and I grew up going to barbecues on Juneteenth, in June, in the summer. That's what we did. We hung out with our brothers, and we all, had barbecue, and it was awesome. It became a national holiday just a few years back, and it does commemorate the last of the slaves after the Civil War. 2.5 years after the war was officially over and slaves were freed in this country, the last Union soldiers went all the way to Galveston down on the coast, freed the last slaves. So Juneteenth, great way to celebrate freedom. And obviously we've come such a long way since the Civil War, and there's so much great stuff going on in our country. But Juneteenth is this week, so the market's closed, and then I will cruise off to Park City, where I will take my kids on vacation. Speaking of kids, we have 4. We're doing our part for population increase. And if you remember, in the summer of 21, Ivy Zelman Research, which is now a Walker and Dunlap company, they put out Cradle to Grave. It's a great article on population decline, where the birth rates in America are not keeping up with the death rate. Again, doing our part over here in the Perennial household. We've survived almost 2 weeks, soccer tournament all weekend. We had vacation Bible school that started this morning all week. And then we have junior guards, which are lifeguard training on the beach. It starts tomorrow for my 9 and 11-year-old daughters. And of course, I hijacked them from that Wednesday night and we go to Park City. The population growth has been raised 5% over the next decade. So that's a positive thing for housing, and you can check that out. So before I get my personal story about Zactus, who are advancing the modern mortgage, the VA came out and said they will they absolutely will make it easy to roll in buyer's commissions. Okay, Greg Holmes and I share a Picasso home. I'm totally outing him. He's our chief revenue officer. I was there at my wife's 40th surprise birthday party with 7 couples. The TV was not logged out like the ESPN app, and it said gholmes@creditplus.com. So I shot him a message on LinkedIn right here on this platform. Great place to connect. I said, dude, Park City, were you just here at this house? He's like, yeah, man. He's like, it's like a co-ownership thing through Picasso, which you got to check out. So Greg and I, struck up an even better relationship. Our company had been working with Credit Plus for many years. Janet down in South Florida was our rep, and Perry Steiner, the CEO of Zactus, at that house on that week where Greg was at, they had a meeting and they were putting together 6 credit companies plus Sharper Lending, which is a technology company. And they rolled up these companies together to be Zactus. And anyway, I have gotten to know a lot of the team over there. I mean, I'm sure any of us who are on the road, you all know, Greg, Mike Allen, who doesn't know Crockett, Michael Crockett, Megan Witz over there creating content, Shelly, like one of the best operators in the business. She's their president, Shelly, female president. Tim Cox is over there now, is great. Julie Wink is over there, Jennifer Hamby on the marketing side. Everyone knows Tom Gallucci, if you're part of the Mortgage Collaborative over there, moving along their strategic sales. And of course, Tiffany comments quite often here. So anyway, just thought I'd share that story, how I share a second home, a co-ownership with Zactus, and we went from 4 credit vendors down to 2, and there's so much more than just credit vendor. They have verifications, they have all kinds of stuff. So I'll be talking about them. It's business about relationships. Love talking about people I love doing business with. Hope you have a wonderful week. I will get back to you with an update. Park City. They even photobomb my little kids in the background over there. Oh my gosh. 11, 9, 7, and 5. Wish us luck. Cheers.
Hey, it's KP coming to you from Park City. We're at the top of the canyons. We were at the Utah Olympic Park, and I got an aerial show for you coming up here. I waited until Friday. I normally go Thursday night. My wife and 4 kids are over here. I will be out of breath because we've been hiking around and doing stuff all day. Okay, so got a couple things to talk about. Breaking news, by the way. The FHFA just approved, conditionally, the Freddie Mac second lien pilot program. So that means HELOCs up to 80% CLTV behind a Freddie Mac first lien can be securitized by Freddie Mac. Now, the MBA had a limited rollout condition that they were hoping for, and that got approved. So just a few independent mortgage bankers are rolling it out, smaller loan amounts, smaller scope, and anyway, win for the MBA, win for everybody. Didn't blow out the second lien securitization market overnight. Here we are, Utah Olympic Park. They had the Paralympic team here today, an event here, and then now they are going to have the U.S. aerial team jumping off ramps. It's pretty cool. So you're getting breaking news here. Breaking news on the second liens, and then we had some services and inflation data that came out, and it was mostly not mortgage friendly, which is why you saw the 10-year Treasury end this week a little bit higher. 426, 424. Here's the ramps. So in just a second, you'll see some people flipping into the water. I promise you'll get a little payoff for my rambling. But, the trend has been that the 10-year Treasury continues to come down ever since October. So you have little spikes up, and then come down. And we have big news next week with the PCE, the Fed deflator, the personal consumption expenditure. That's the Fed's preferred measure of inflation. That's Friday. So in the month, on a Friday, which is always great for purchase business. So you clear out your pipelines, and not a lot rolls over. And that's big data. We had retail sales come out Tuesday this week. It was a little slower than expected, which is bond-friendly, rate-friendly. We had a nice holiday, Juneteenth, in the middle of the week, and the markets were closed. And stock market is generally ripped. It went S&P went up to 5,500, set up a whole brand new record in the middle of the week, and then people started taking profits and then coming back. All right. I'm not a stock advisor. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not responsible for your losses, only your profits. But the FANG stinks. Stocks are ripping. The Magnificent Seven, if you're not in it, fire your advisor immediately. All right. Sorry. Love that song. Oh, there's Taylor Swift. My kids are going crazy. You'll see them in just a second. The U.S. dollar domination is still king dollar. 58% of all the world's transactions are still, and reserves are still being done in U.S. dollars, mostly because oil transactions are denominated in dollars. We're a huge oil exporter. And, ever since the petrodollar was created in the 70s and we got the gold standard, countries need dollars. So dollar's still somewhat strong, hasn't really weakened quite yet, but it is weakening a little bit, not in a major way. But as the 10-year Treasury comes down and the dollar weakens a little bit, really large growth stocks that have international presence actually do well, because foreign countries have to convert their currencies to dollars to buy iPhones and buy servers and everything else. And so it's actually good for the stock market when you see the 10-year Treasury yield come down and the dollar weaken simultaneously. So we'll watch that. Just one more thing to keep an eye on as we look at rates and everything going on. So I read a pretty cool article about the human brain and all this AI going into trying to map the brain, and it's fascinating. Google just did a 10-year study on a cubic millimeter of the brain. Think about that. That's half the size of a grain of rice, okay? In your brain, there's 100 billion neurons with like 10 billion synapses in each neuron. And so those are your nerve cells. In that cubic millimeter mapped out space there was 1.4 million gigabytes of data took to map that out by Google. And it's fascinating. There's like 150 million synapses in that cubic millimeter. It's unbelievable what the brain is capable of doing. And the reason I bring it up is because there's 2 mega computers that just clocked in at just a little over 1 exaflop of that's 1 quintillion parameters and procedures are done in a second. That's how strong these chips are getting. That's why you're seeing so much going out there. Anyway, AI is going to hit faster than we all think, even in our business. All right, let me pause this bad boy and get you a little payoff here at the end. My son loves this song. Luca, what song is this? What song is it? Mom Spaghetti. So how much is? Okay. Okay, baby. All right, here we go. Getting some content. How about that? Thanks for staying with me. I'll be back to the house I talked about in my video Monday night. Our good friend Zactus co-owning. See you, Greg. And then on the way back, I'm going to stop with Roland Whedon from Essex Mortgage and say hi, have a smoke behind his fire, a little cigar and a beer. Cheers, y'all. Have a great weekend.
You've been listening to KP Talks Dollars and Cents. a top-rated show for those who want to learn about the economy and mortgage environment. Tune in each week for more episodes, and please leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Kevin Perenio does not render or offer to render personalized investment or tax advice through KP Talks Dollars and Cents. The information provided is for informational purposes only and does not constitute financial, tax, investment, or legal advice. For more info, follow KP Talks Dollars and Cents on all of our social channels.